I'm Adam Collins and this is Crick Buzz Centre Stage on day 35 of this World Cup, and it took till 35 days to work out who the final four teams will be in the competition when they play in the semi-finals next week. It's going to be Australia, it's going to be India. We knew that already, but now we know it'll be England and New Zealand. We were almost certain, and to be fair, Pakistan, technically speaking, could still dismount New Zealand, but the reality is, after today, England's convincing 119-run victory over the Kiwis up in Durham, there's no doubt about how things are going to play out. For England's part, they found their groove, didn't they? Against India at Edgbaston here a couple of days ago, they were able to put on a big opening stand, and that's precisely what they did again today. Bairstow was a centurion on that occasion. He was again here at Durham, where he was able to make 106 alongside Jason Roy. The two of them at the top of the list in 7 one-dayers opening the batting in 2019 have averaged 99.7 as an opening pair, which speaks volumes about how important Jason Roy is to straightening up the side and giving them some focus up the top. He made a half century as well. It didn't matter an awful lot that it did dry up a little bit after that big opening stand of 120 plus. It meant that England already had the base. So even though they lost 7 for 117, even though they only went at 5 and over for the last 20 overs, as things tidied up a little bit with a slower pitch and bowlers banging it into the turf and creating a series of errors, they had that foundation, and 305 was a very impressive score. New Zealand, they were all out for 186 in the 45th over, but even that doesn't really demonstrate how far out of the game they were early. It was punctuated by a magnificent diving catch from Joss Buttler to remove Martin Guptill. You'll have to find the highlights of that one. Diving with one hand out down the leg side. It's one of the catches of the tournament. Mark Wood went on to take 3 wickets. The rest of them were shared. Jofra Archer was frugal and efficient. They're coming together at the perfect time, England. Let's remember that it was only a week ago that they were this far away from being out of the tournament. Had they lost to India, or indeed had they lost today, they would have been in massive trouble with Pakistan looming, but they're just far enough ahead now that they can't be dislodged. And we need to remember, of course, they are the home side and they are the number 1 ranked side in the world as well. So in all probability, assuming that Australia would have beat South Africa on Saturday, they'll be back here at Edgbaston for a semi-final against the men in blue, India versus England. What a blockbuster that will be.
We sort of knew that coming into the tournament. The difficult challenge in applying that to World Cup games is that it's just a one-off game. It lends itself more so for you to be, whatever the way you play, it should be the extremity of that on the day, because you don't get another chance. And it's taken us time to get to grips with that. That we do stick to our mantra the whole time and not actually be cagey or desperate or anything in those sort of regards. It doesn't work for us, and it won't win us the World Cup. So,
as for New Zealand, they will scrape through to the semi-final stage. Let's remember for how long in this tournament they were top of the league. They had a soft draw to start with. They did capitalise. They did add to their net run rate after thrashing Sri Lanka in the opening game. It was that same weekend where Pakistan had a job done on them by the West Indies, where they were annihilated, which means the gap between Pakistan and New Zealand, as far as net run rate's concerned, is enormous. The only way that Pakistan could get through is if they go on to make something like 400 against Bangladesh on the final day at Lords and they bowl them out for 85, so that's very unlikely. But it doesn't mean New Zealand are coming into the final four stage with any form or any confidence. The downside for them is that they will probably end up playing Australia, who thrashed them at Lords last Saturday. That game will probably be the first semi-final, provided Australia do the job in Manchester on Saturday. The fact that New Zealand do have an injury concern with Lockie Ferguson's not ideal either. The firebrand quick has been so important to their hopes through the tournament. And while they did bowl well today, Jimmy Neesham especially, 2 for 41 off 10 overs, they're lacking that potency of Ferguson. They're relying heavily on Mitchell Santner, the sole spinner, and Trent Boult, the mainstay. They don't quite have the other bowlers to fill in the gaps. And the New Zealand leadership know it's a tough road ahead of them, and they know they must bounce back in a hurry, or it'll be a moot point that they're in the semi-finals.
Yeah, I think the experiences that we've had on some fairly tough surfaces are really important learnings to, take note of and try and be better for having had that experience. Saying that, obviously it would be nice to be more successful in those situations, but we have seen wickets throughout the tournament change, be very variable in terms of their characteristics, and even change within a game. Having said that, I certainly don't want to take anything away from the way that the England side played. They outplayed us regardless of conditions today, and fully deserved their win.
So at long last, we're getting towards the pointy end of this competition. We know it'll almost certainly be Australia versus New Zealand and India versus England. A few group games to go still, plenty of interest in how they will stagger out, but we finally know where we're headed. They're a brilliant contest too, aren't they? Imagine England playing India again in the semi-final. I can't wait. Crick Buzz Centre Stage, Adam Collins. We'll talk to you tomorrow.